Trick, please.
I know y'all probably heard this story, but it's gonna always center me in regards to this podcast, man. That we started arguing on Facebook, turned into real conversations, that turned into a podcast on Facebook. But don't pretend like we didn't create a culture over here, whether it was rooted in Africa or not, whether it's
monkey see, a monkey do. Trick, please. Trick, please. Why you trying to do everything that I do? Monkey. I'll show you how to flip it in the cheese. Trick, freeze.
Trick, please.
Might be the dumbest man in America. I've never seen anything like this.
correct.
Who implicates themselves in a book? What's a
same thing? She can actually talk about different things differently.
The fact that he said he was better than Q, and like,
decide on whether or not you're gonna have kids. You probably just
We don't want kids.
make her. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and so when I could not have a relationship with my biological father, God brought other men in my life to father. And
I am racist, and I'll say that to the whole entire world.
Remember me? Take a picture. Let's do like, come on, man.
Because there's so much about this moment that is trying to make people feel like they've lost their minds. When in fact, they don't have a
Mic check, am I good? Mic check, am I good? Mic check, am I good? Yeah. Yo, it's third degree, still stepping up, full in effect. Like I said, I'm about to step on the set. But those that don't know, better protect their neck. Like Wu-Tang or Method, I came to bring the pain. Yeah, you remember the name, I be the king. I can't really hear myself, hard to explain, but I'm just a little deranged and maybe crazy. There ain't no ifs, ands, or maybes. I'm only spitting off a freestyle. Flick off a couple of rounds. Yes, it's going down. Who hold the ground? That beat, the cat they call 3RD. Yes, that be me. No persuading. You know what I do. Like I said right now, it's the DY3 crew. When I'm giving you a sneak preview of how I spit. My freestyle's too legit, maybe to quit. Like I'm MC Hammer. You better correct the grammar. I got the words and the flow that'll make you stand up. If you really can't stand us, oh well, you can kiss our black ass and go to hell. It ain't hard to tell, or maybe you can see that this be the one that be coming to you infinitely through your screen and maybe on your speakers. Will you hear me right now? No, I'm never creeping up. You only singing us live in effect. Like I said right now, man, we about to get it on. Yeah, we about to show you right now. We drop bombs, serenade any block as we bring it on. You've been warned if you stepping up against us, you an enemy, don't get knocked out. Or maybe you can see what we about, take it to another route. You better watch the words coming out your funky mouth, because you see third degree is really that dude. And I don't mean to be rude, but I will exclude anybody trying to step up and chew them like food. Spit them out on the ground and we lay them down on that ill rugged sound. I be 3R, you about to see right now, you need CPR. And if we about to do it, I'm a smooth fellow. If we just screaming free Karmelo, that's it and that's the show. Yeah, that's it and that's the show. Yes, that's it and that's the show. Let's go ahead and let it blow. Whoa. What's good, Joe? What's good? What's good? What's good? We are back. We are back.
What's happening? What's happening? What's happening?
I mean, third degree, we got things in the building. Man. Yeah, man, it's been a rough week, y'all. Rough week. How you feeling out there?
Oh man, I'm surviving the struggle, baby, but I'm here. That's all that matters.
That's all we can be.
And I'm here, Pimpin'. It's been a week, you know what I'm saying? I make me a dentist appointment. You know what I'm saying? I got all these damn kids in my house, all kind of stuff going on, but we'll be strong.
Man, talk about real life, man. Can you hear me? You hear me good?
Yeah, you sound good. You sound good.
All right. Y'all know what we talked about, right? And we were definitely going to get into it, but I might have to do ratchet. I'm still kind of setting up. You know, your boy Third is a one-man show over here.
Okay.
I do a lot of the production and the pre-production myself, but I still got to make sure I get these alerts out and everything. But it's been a rough week. For those that don't know, man, Karmelo Anthony been found guilty on the charge that he shouldn't have been charged, honestly, in my opinion. And then once again, it's a case that has rocked and divided America. Because we have some people who are saying that he deserved the guilt, and then we're having people who are saying that it was a harsh sentence. But you already know where that's coming from. So yeah, this is what we do, man. We're the Drop Your 3 Cent crew, and this is what we do. We bring it to you guys live, man.
That's it, man. That's it. That's all. We gonna get after it though, man. If you gotta run the ratchet news, man, do what you gotta do. Let's get straight to it though. So y'all stick around, man, because we're gonna have
stick around. I'm still sending out the alerts, making sure everybody comes in. Let's go ahead and kick it out. We'll go ahead and just do the ratchet news. We will be right back.
What's good, y'all? It's your boy Third Degree. We're back with more ratchet news. Well, some of it's ratchet, some of it's not, but we still got to speak on it. So, let's go.
Well, Marcus Houston says singing career would have been bigger if he hadn't acted on Sister. I don't know. Do you agree with that or not? I think he's a good singer. I think maybe just better songs and maybe just more original him, but I don't know. I don't think that was the hindrance, but what are your thoughts? Moving on. Michael Jackson accusers snap selfie as Trauma Brothers. If they don't get the funk out of here, you know what I'm saying? Like, we'll see. They got a trial in November, but we'll see. But I think it's just more so trying to capitalize off this Michael mania right now, because it's being reported that Michael has surpassed 900 million at the global box office. So it's just smashing records. I think it's the third highest grossing biopic in cinema history. You know what I'm saying? As you can see, Oppenheimer is number 1, Bohemian Rhapsody number 2, and Michael's number 3, but it just got released in Japan. So expect those numbers to climb over the weekend. But hey, moving on. Well, before we do, there are people who are still not happy about that Michael Jackson hit series on Netflix. And so people have been asking, Pastor Jamal Bryant takes accountability for platforming Dr. Cheyenne. I don't know why, you know what I mean? But again, here we go. Moving on. 70-year-old man charged with attempted unaliving after trying to drown a 21-year-old on crutches at a private lake in Massachusetts. And they say we violent, right? All right, moving on. Tupac Shakur is now a video game character almost 30 years after his passing, thanks to Sega and Snoop Dogg for making it happen. You know what I'm saying? And speaking of Tupac and Snoop recently brought him back at his Key to the City ceremony. Actually was the grand opening of the Long Beach Amphitheater. And so, you know, he brought him back as an angel talking to him. So, you know, of course, expect Daz to have something to say about that. Moving on. The House votes to cut funding for WIC program that feeds pregnant women and children. Interesting. We will keep up to date on this one. Moving on. We're going back to Netflix. Netflix backs Tony Hinchcliffe after George Floyd joke backslash. Actually, by giving him his own special. What is Netflix really on, right? Moving on. Tay Diggs divorced his wife after 11 years of marriage, and then she blamed the black community. Crazy work, right? Moving on. Cardi B teases DJ Snack and Nibbits for shooting his shot at Daphne Joy. So recently she just was promoting her OnlyFans after claiming she was a victim of Diddy and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, and her sex tapes leaked. And, you know, she truly got a fan in the Snackademics because it's been reported that Daphne Joy told Academics that the thing she's most attracted to him about is how attracted he is to her, and he melted like ice cream in July. What a cupcake. What a punk. Anyway, moving on. Big Tigger's wife reveals that they're getting a divorce and accusing him of cheating with his radio co-host, and which is a claim that his radio co-host has denied. So there's a lot of stuff going on right now, and it seems really, really messy, but I think Big Tigger got in over his head with who he chose to have a baby with. She seems certified 50-50, right? All right, but hey, moving on. Lil Boozy says no trannies allowed at the upcoming pool party, and of course causing an uproar. Moving on. Wayne's Brothers strikes again. Scary Movie crushes Masters of the Universe at box office with $56 million opening. And because of that, Marlon Wayans is saying, hey, it's time, let's bring out White Chicks 2. Please don't. Just leave it alone. All right, moving on. Well, Genuine gets called out for saying he would never date a trans woman, and folks are coming for him. Like, why? It's his preference. If he chooses not to date that way, he wants to date real women, then that's not a problem. That's his preference. You know what I'm saying? So folks need to get a life. Anyway, moving on. Dr. Umar gives a tour of his finished school and says FDMG Academy is ready to open. We'll believe it when we see it, right? Moving on. Trump went to Madison Square Garden. They headed the Knicks and the Spurs game 4, and literally, no, it was a game 3. And literally got booed. And, you know, folks are blaming his presence there as the reason why the Knicks lost their winning streak. You know, so the minute that he didn't go and Wu-Tang performed and, you know, got rid of that bad juju, they won game 4 and now heading back to Texas for game 5. So, hey, go Knicks. Moving on. Jason Lee gives his Mount Rushmore of media, and, you know, a pretty good solid list. You know what I'm saying? I'll give him that one. Moving on. After 170 years after ending slavery, France repeals laws that treated people as property. They just did it now? How about you give Haiti back all of its money, right? Anyway, that's another topic. Moving on. Woman jumps from 86th floor of Empire State Building, but is saved by a gust of wind that blows her back onto a ledge 1 floor below. Talk about God, right? Hey man, if that doesn't make her a believer, that shit right there. Get help, woman. Anyway, moving on. Mace addresses J-Lo's opinion of what makes a real New Yorker, and he's right. We talked about this last week's show. I think people are stealing our material, but he's basically, she was saying if you weren't born in New York, you can't be claimed to be a New Yorker. And you know, Mace was technically born in Florida, but he grew up in New York from elementary up to high school. And he says, well, at least if you went to elementary or high school, you could be called a New Yorker. But we'll have another debate about this. And still, go out and go get my song, Always Home, San Bernardino. We talked about this last week. All right, moving on. Louisiana man attacked by an alligator while running from police during DUI stop. Crazy, right? Moving on. Ramen overtakes Spencer Pratt in LA mayoral race, and good. While Steyer endorses Becerra after losing California governor race. So, hey, man, you know, shout out to him. I don't think he was going to win, especially after that reparations talk that he did not have. He getting pressed in LA. But anyway, moving on. Influencer sentenced to 10 years in prison for hiring someone for $20K to unalive her rival and a woman who left negative comments. Sounds like someone else we know, right? Someone else we do that we know. But hey, moving on. Kelly Price goes off on a woman she claims stalked her for 3 years, cloned her phone, tried to unalive her driver, put witchcraft on her, and says the woman's daughter tried to sleep with her husband. What the funk she got going on over there? I hope she beefed up security with that crazy nut. But moving on. A BDSM fantasy turned fatal. A Michaela, I don't know how to say her last name. 4-year sentence is a warning about sexual choking. You know what I mean? I think she had a husband and did only whatever. Moving on. Sean Diddy Combs accused of essaying a child actor. I wonder who this actor is. Will they reveal themselves? But stay tuned. Moving on. Zahara officially files to remove Pitt from last name. What did he do to these children and Angelina? Did she really turn them against him? I don't know. Moving on. Southern Baptists vote to advance a formal ban of churches with women pastors. How is that Republican like working out for y'all? For y'all blacks and you women, you maggots. Anyway, moving on. Drake's Iceman on pace to be the longest running #1 album in 2026. Good for him. Moving on. DJ ASAP and wife LaShonda Moore sentenced to 40 years for pandering pyramid skin during the pandemic. Crazy, right? Moving on. Rick Ross explains why he was caught flying commercial after fans questioned his private jet lifestyle. Hey, if he got to fly coach from time to time, I don't blame him with the prices. He just shows he's a real dude. All right, moving on. Sexy Red reacts to Tom Brady's new coconut water brand, Good Nut. They said, can we send you some Good Nut? And she said, send me a case full. Yo, I kind of like her energy, man. Her ratchetness, whatever. She seems goofy and fun, but, still ratchet. But moving on. From YouTube to Disney, preschool hit Grace's Cornerland streaming and development deal. Salute to know Miss Jess loves this, right? All right, moving on. A man unalived her mom and fled to Mexico over a decade ago. She used social media to track him down. Salute. Moving on. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson announces he has turned all public school IDs into library cards to boost student access. Salute to him. Much props. Moving on. Father refuses to let a gay man enter a woman's restaurant while his wife or daughter was inside. Why enter? Crazy, right? Was he right or wrong? Moving on. Woman arrested after sending 65,000 messages to a man after one day. Nut. And authorities found her inside the man's home while he was away. Crazy, right? Moving on. If you guys have been keeping up, Kanan is on some ish, right? Moving on. The brat is wondering why this picture is going viral. Well, we can give you a reason right there. Moving on. Sadly, last but not least, Karmelo Anthony was sentenced to 35 years in prison. And it's crazy, right? Because Carmelo's parents blame all white jury for his conviction, and it's crazy. We're going to talk about this tonight. So that's all I got for you. All right. Catch you on the show. Anyway, I'm Third Degree, and that's been your Ratchet News. Enjoy the show.
All right, y'all. We are back. We are back. Mic check. We are back.
Yes, sir. I can hear you. We loud and clear, man. Listen.
All right.
It seems to be what can I call it? There seems to be an influx of.
Make sure you guys hit the like and share button. Go ahead,
Mike. Oh, yeah, definitely do that. Anti-LGBTQ rhetoric going around. And, just in this ratchet news, I think we have, 3 examples of said situation. But I need people to understand that in your personal situations, what you like to do is what you like to do. That's your business, man. And if you have some it's kind of like saying, hey, I'm gonna have a birthday party for my kids. We can't have no transgender. You can't cancel me for that. You can't. I don't want my kids to have a transgender conversation at 8, 9 years old that I gotta conversate about. So I always find it strange that there's this huge outrage about people doing what they personally do. Because in the same regard, if you having a transgender party, I don't want to be there. I'm not finna be like, hey, why can't I go?
Right.
Never gonna happen. That's y'all business, man. Have fun, do whatever it is y'all gonna do, and have a good time, man. That's my view. And who was that wife blaming us for that man leaving her? That's crazy work.
Well, take Duke's way.
Yeah, that's crazy work. But I keep telling y'all, you go over there on the other side, don't look for us.
Crazy. What else you see, man? Real quick, we're gonna get right into it, y'all. I promise you. So make sure you hit the like, share button.
Oh, you know what else, man? DJ Snackademics, DJ Big Backademics, DJ Fatademics, like whatever situation you got, man. We know he thirsty. Bro be in the basement all day, every day, on stream, which is crazy.
Crazy.
Like, that is crazy. Like I can't. My house is nice, and I can't sit in this mug all day. I'm gonna go crazy. I couldn't imagine being online streaming all day, every day, from the basement or wherever you at in your house. I seen his house. He got a nice house, but to be streaming all day from there and think that other people want to interact with you, and then to go after somebody you just seen involved in a sex tape is crazy work. You know what I'm saying? You willing to sign up for that, sir? Yeah, okay. I didn't even see the video. I just heard about it, and I know. Yeah, I'm not throwing my weenie down that hallway. I promise you, can't do it.
All right, y'all. So we know why you guys are here. So hey, make sure you hit the like, share button. This is gonna get deep. We're talking about Karmelo Anthony. We're talking about Rick Chow. We're talking about the double standard within the American justice system. One was found guilty and sentenced to 35 years. The other, not guilty. Not guilty verdict, able to go home and do X, Y, and Z. While a young man who was 19 is sentenced to 35 years in prison. Right. So we're definitely going to talk about that. There were other topics, but I felt this was going to be a heavy one. So I pushed everything else to the side. We're going to talk about this one tonight. So just make sure you hit the like, share button. Thank you to the Facebook people. Last week, man, the numbers were out the roof. And so we thank you for your continued support. Thank you to the YouTube family. If you guys are coming on, I got the link to come on as a guest in the description. But if you're coming on, make sure you got to turn on your camera. Make sure you're in a nice, quiet spot. Make sure that there are no distractions for the show. Also, too, you just know that.
Give me a second.
All right, things may get heated. You know what I'm saying, but it's all good. We can agree to disagree. Just make sure you do it respectfully. Also, too. Make sure that there's no profanity laced within our conversations or no extreme vulgar profanity. Also, to make sure that things may get heated. We talk about race relations stuff and whatever, but again, we're not about hate. You know what I'm saying? This is the platform where this is a safe place where real conversation meets real culture. We're of the people, for the people. So this is a place where you can voice your opinion, your thoughts, your views. And just know that nobody has to necessarily subscribe to you, and you don't have to subscribe to nobody else. You can agree to disagree, just do it respectfully. Also, too, just make sure that there's no eating on camera. But the main thing that we love around here is engagement. And right now, I know Facebook is tripping. I think they had a blackout today, for whatever reason. You know what I'm saying? But, yeah, man. You just want to make sure we have a good show. And, I'm going to hit you with a few ads. We're going to get right to it.
Most people live inside fields they never built. They wake up in environments shaped by other people's expectations, other people's demands, other people's fears. They react to pressure that is not theirs. They carry emotional weight they never agreed to. They misinterpret signals because no one taught them how to read the field. As a result, they move through life with scrambled emotional code, corrupted meaning, unstable financial decisions, inconsistent boundaries, fractured identity. And the worst part, they think it is normal. It is not. It never was. The sovereign frequency system exists to correct that. Across this book, you will learn 5 essential architectures. You will not be asked to push harder. You will be asked to move clearer. You will not be asked to dominate. You will be asked to calibrate. You will not be asked to fight. You will be asked to understand. This book does not teach force. It teaches field mastery. Your field determines your frequency. Your frequency determines your reality. Your reality determines your life. And once your frequency is sovereign, nothing external can override you again. Let us begin the architecture.
You've seen the footage from last year. Well, Boss Up Brunch is back, and our very own Marquez Miller is back in the building. Join everybody June 27th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Yard Party ATL. Make sure you pull up. If you've seen them, you know the events are fun, packed with business, and plenty of networking and plenty of praising. Pull up to Boss Up Brunch, June 27th at the Yard Party ATL. See you there.
Yo, with mushroom coffee being on the rise as of late, I guess the best way to go is with Rise Coffee. And DJ Method X has teamed up with Rise Coffee, so make sure you use promo code METHODXSD15. Also, to check out Method on TikTok at MethodXSD. Also on Twitch TV at MethodXX619. Let's go.
In San Bernardino at Melba's. Now we heard about them through a post on Instagram, and since we've been craving soul food, me and my fiance drove all the way from LA, plus we love supporting Black-owned businesses. When we got there, you can see so many locals very excited, waiting for their food. Everything's made fresh to order, the staff is super friendly, and they're really here to make you feel at home. We were so excited. I went with Melba's famous fried chicken. Just hear this crunch. It's fried good and it's super juicy. For my two sides, I went with potato salad and baked beans. Plus, I added on cornbread. Alberto ordered hot links paired with candied yams and mac and cheese. And with this reaction, it's safe to say that we're definitely coming back. Come support Melba's here in San Bernardino.
Uncle Nearest Premium Whiskey is a brand of Tennessee. Whiskey honoring Nathan, Nearest Green, the first known African-American master distiller. The Nearest Green Distillery, located in Shelbyville, Tennessee, is the world's first distillery named after an African-American. Green is credited with perfecting the Lincoln County process, a charcoal mellowing method that defines Tennessee whiskey's smoothness. Get your bottle today.
All right, y'all, we are back. So, for those who are living underneath the rock, Karmelo Anthony was convicted to 35 years, but just last week, Rick Chow was found not guilty. Both charged with unaliving, both claim self-defense, one guilty, the other not guilty. Does America have a double standard when it comes to justice? And so, Cheryl, a shout out to you. What's up, Cheryl? Good evening. Justice system in America has always had three standard system: white, black, and rich. Justice depends on those factors.
That is a statement.
What up, man? You guys make sure you guys please share, hit the like, share button. Share it, please. This is going to be a good one tonight.
Absolutely. Man, I think Cheryl's on to something. But I'm it's not for the lack of knowing, right? If you in that Black or poverty-ridden category, you know what this system is, right? I think it's been the issue all along is that people have been playing like America has been getting better in terms of its racial politics, and it really hasn't. It's been more covert. And I don't know if these people out here shooting fireworks or guns. I'm sorry, I live in a. That's why I got off earlier because it sounded too close. So I had to check the house.
Yes, definitely.
But yeah, you know what I'm saying, I don't know if they just doing fireworks or what they got going on. But yeah, there's definitely a different justice system depending on where you at in life, and anybody who argues that fact is just disillusioned, right? I mean, to get away with shooting pew pew, and I'll say because I don't know what platforms we on today, and I don't want to get us flagged, but to pew pew somebody in the back and unalive them as they're running away, and compare that to somebody who was in an altercation where they literally feared for their life and wasn't able to run away, it is a sad situation. And I blame, and I don't know if blame's a good word, but I'm highly frustrated with the defense in this Karmelo Anthony case. So much so that well, Third, I inboxed you like, bro, I feel like they setting him up before they even came out with the sentence or the verdict. I said, bro, it looks like they setting him up. I literally, what was it, the night before, the day before, something like that?
It was literally like the night before.
Yeah, and I was like, I feel like they setting him up to lose, and that's really what it looked like. I was following this closely. I'm a father. I got an adult children, and then I have teenage children. I literally have a 17-year-old son, and have to have these conversations where your emotions in a 5-minute altercation can cost you your life one way or another, whether it's hitting the graveyard or you send somebody there. In the environment that we live in, both of those could cost you your life. Like, what I mean, whether it's in the penitentiary or the graveyard. So emotional intelligence is highly sought after. But then again, I also have to remember that I tell my children to stand up for themselves as well.
Right.
And don't, no matter what, don't be a victim. You know what I'm saying? That's always my advice. Don't be a victim. You know what I mean? It's better to take that 12 in the box. I rock with you 12 in the box all day than be carried by 6, man. But go ahead.
So, I mean, for me, it's crazy because, I mean, with these type of cases, we see the real side of people. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think people put on these personas, when they step outside, like, this is what they want. This is what I want people to perceive that I am, and blah, 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 till some real stuff happens, right? Mm-hmm. So I've crazy comments, you know what I'm saying? I've seen crazy comments that came from people of the same hue as us, you know what I'm saying, making some outlandish stuff. And for me, it's like, this isn't nothing new that we've been through. The speed of the trial, I think we were talking about it before, was that, for them to go ahead and expedite it to even have court on a Saturday. You know what I'm saying? They had court on a Saturday, already let me know something was up. We didn't really hear too many objections from the defense. You know what I'm saying? Like, for me, this was a really open and shut case. And I'm not an attorney, but I watched enough. I've studied some people to see. The first thing that I would have started off with was, did Austin Metcalf deserve to be unalive? And the answer would be no. But at the same time, he was the aggressor. How do you come to a tent, right? Now, I guess it was raining outside, whatever. Karmelo got called to the tent by a friend that he knew from the opposite team. He's in there. And you come and approach him talking about, hey, what are you doing in our tent, blah, blah, blah. Why are you harassing him? And I think that's the thing that people are missing. Why are you harassing them? I'm going to pull a page from the other side, from the other people who feel a certain type of way. Why didn't he just go find a teacher or an adult and say, hey, we got somebody who's over here, and I don't think he should be here? Why didn't you go get an adult? You know what I'm saying? Like, why didn't you feel like you needed to take actions and stuff within your own hand? You know what I'm saying? And then you proceed to actually touch this guy. And then this is what happens. Now, on the flip, and I know you're going to say something, but on the flip, should Karmelo have brought in a knife to a fist fight? No. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, but when you look at it in the aspect, I think he's smaller than these two twins who are 6 foot, maybe 200 something pounds, whatever. He's like 195, whatever it was. They were bigger, and he was smaller. From the looks of it, to me, I think Karmelo was scared. You know what I'm saying? People who are going to pull out a knife on first instinct when their life is not necessarily in danger, their thing is hey, I got to fight for my life. And he gave them a warning, hey, leave me alone, blah, blah, blah. They still proceeded to mess with this guy. So then he pulls out the knife and he goes to bed. But then it's not like he walked in there with the intent to unalive him either. So why did he get charged with murder?
Right.
My question.
Well, I mean, and you knew I was gonna have some pushback on that.
Of course.
Because the old school player told me way back in the day, scared people will eradicate you. The worst thing you can do to somebody who's scary is back them in a corner.
True.
You know what I mean? It'd be the brave ones that, you know what I mean, to take that licking and keep on ticking. But scary people, when you realize that somebody's scared of you, you should probably leave them alone, because they'll get you out of here quicker than most thugs and gangsters, because they don't have time to figure out what that ass whooping feel like or could be. You know what I'm saying? And in his defense, they people keep using terminology, and you know me, well, Third, and you know yourself, right? We read a lot, so words matter, and the framing of those words matter. To say bring a knife to a fist fight is kind of disingenuous, because I don't think Karmelo brought a knife in preparation of having a fist fight.
True.
At all. It was just something he knew he had in his bag if something was to go awry, like most people do. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, wholeheartedly. Since we're past statute of limitations or self-incriminating or whatever, I'm going to pull a Keepy D on here. Back when you knew me, when I first got to your school in the 10th grade, I had 3 blades on me. I had one in my pocket, actually one that was in like a holster. I had one in my Timbs, because I used to rock Timbs. So I had one in my sock and my Timbs that was right there between my ankle or whatever, and then I had one in my backpack. Because if I could not get to one, I was going to get to the other. And at that time, again, I could fight. The thing about it is if I get jumped or if my life is in danger, because at that point, you couldn't carry no pow, whatever like that. Or you could, I didn't have access to it. So the next best thing was, hey, I carry blades. I had one black blade that was like, it was still legal. And I carried them to school. Because again, you had imminent threats that came your way. Whether it was gangs, whether it's people from other races or cultures, whatever. I've been in a race riot, so I know that. And even in junior high, because of the gang culture, I've seen cats that were coming to the school 7th and 8th grade with knives. Pulling them out, in the bathroom, talking about what's up. So you got to be prepared. It's better to have than not have when you need it.
Oh, absolutely. Otherwise, words, it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like we grew up in a culture where that's absolutely part of the status quo, and also to be fair and biased. Like I think if they would have given him a manslaughter charge, we could have lived with that, or negligent homicide. You know what I'm saying? Like those type of things, I probably could have lived with. Like, oh, that's fair. You know what I'm saying? Because in no way, shape, or form am I saying if the grounds weren't deemed necessary for him to protect himself to the point of unaliving someone, he shouldn't be punished. But I think 35 years with Erder is kind of excessive because, you know, in most states, the statute for murder is intent. And I don't think he intended to go to that track meet to look for somebody to argue with to stab him. That's why I have an issue.
Not at all. Not at all. It does not seem like that at all.
Man, Cheryl, you was drawing down on people in 4th grade. What you had going on?
All right, hold on. Let's get back to. So make sure you guys, get in the comment section. If you don't want to come on camera, be in the comment section. Drop your thoughts, views, opinions. We'll read them right here on the show. Cheryl says, example, more money equals better lawyers. Race card is played every day with jury selection. Well, we're going to touch on that too. For Karmelo's case, 35 years is excessive, but he made a mistake. Someone lost his life. That's true. He made a mistake. You know, so that, like what Quez was saying, if he would have got maybe like a manslaughter charge, I think we could have understood that. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, because when you're talking about murder, it's with the intent. He didn't go there with the intent like, oh, well, I'm looking for these guys and they beat me up last week and no, it was literally self-defense. It literally self-defense. And, you know, and so that's where I stand on it. And then Cheryl says, someone who accidentally pulled a weapon in the 4th grade, I can relate. Fear is a strong emotion. It is. It is. Especially if you can't fight. But more so, especially if you get outnumbered. I didn't mean it to sound like that, but seriously, like, if you know, like, again, so telling on myself, Quez, you know well as I know.
I don't know nothing.
You don't know. Well, you know, let me take that back. Let me rephrase that. I speak for myself. All right. You know, when you know that you can fight, but I was conditioned too that, you know, you don't start a fight. If you started a fight, you're gonna have two problems. Either it's gonna be an outcome. Either you're gonna meet somebody who's your bigger match, or you're gonna go home and get dealt with. So I could not start a fight. But you know, so the thing about it was I knew how to fight. And I couldn't wait for someone to try to pick on me or the whatever. Especially how we talked about last week when you're going to different schools every few years or so, whatever, it's hard to fit in. You get people who try to test you. They want to try to bully you. And then even when you move out of a predominantly Black environment and you go to one where there's scarcely Black people and you get called the N-word, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you got to learn how to fight. So as somebody who got called the N-word by some folks, you got to learn how to fight. And so I couldn't wait for I couldn't wait for an opportunity to fight. I wanted you to funk with me so I could funk you up. You know, seriously. But if you can't fight, scary reaction is, hey, let me pull out a weapon or let me go get my homeboys or nah. But you know, and if you're arrogant, you know, saying I'm gonna tell you like this too. If you see a bully, like how maybe the twins may have been, lucky it wasn't me, because I would have found the nearest brick and knocked them upside their head. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. You know, like, what do you do to provoke somebody to get them out of their norm? You know what I'm saying? Like, there has to be some accountability.
Yeah, I hate bullies, and as we talk about the double standard, this is my thing, because the narrative around it was, Karmelo should have just walked away. He should have just got up and moved, or you know, he should have de-escalated the situation. When we watch somebody like Daniel Penny ambush a mentally ill person on the train who didn't put his hands on anybody and put him in a rear naked choke and you know what I'm saying, unlive that man, you know, and it be considered self-defense. Or we watched George Zimmerman chase a teenager down.
Oh, wait. You're jumping ahead. You're putting the carrot in front of the horse.
My fault. You know what I'm saying? That, look, this is how you know it's unscripted, because you know I be on my tangents, and And this how I know Third is coming over here to the dark
Oh man,
side.
you know what? I couldn't get go proceed. I couldn't
No,
get that.
you good. Go ahead, because I feel like what you got going line, you know what I'm saying, in some way, shape, or
No,
form.
because again, the one thing I wanted to bring out was the George Zimmerman's. Oh, I fear for my life, and so then but you didn't. What you call it? Didn't have a pow pow. You had a pow pow, and again, it was your word against his word, and they still found George Zimmerman. You know,
in a stand your ground state like Texas, where you have no duty to retreat.
What? So yeah, I'm about to bring that up right now. Right now.
Some states, you might have had a point, but in Texas, y'all pride yourselves on not running away and handling the threat by any means necessary. Y'all live on that. So to watch somebody go down while handling a threat and not having the duty to retreat is crazy work. But go ahead, what you got for us, brother?
Crazy work. All right. So, in the state of Texas, self-defense is legally justified when you reasonably believe force is immediately necessary to protect against someone else's unlawful use or attempted use of force. The state's laws protect your right to defend yourself, but they are highly specific about when and how force can be applied. Stand your ground. Texas is a stand your ground state. You have no legal duty to retreat from a physical confrontation as long as you have a legal right to be in that location. You are not engaged in criminal activity and you did not provoke the threat.
Sounds pretty clear to me.
Clear as night and day, right?
Absolutely.
So, but when you look at it like this, though, so in the case of Karmelo Anthony, let's bring it back to the stage. My fault, y'all. Still learning. All right, so this is what happened. Anthony at one point reached inside the bag and replied, "Touch me and see what happens." According to a police report, Metcalf pushed Anthony, according to witnesses who said Anthony then pulled out a knife and, poked him in the chest. So he pushed him. Does that not constitute as self-defense in the state of Texas?
I mean, according to Texas, you didn't even have to push him. You just had to see that there may be physical contact, according to Texas law that you just read. And I ain't no lawyer, you know what I'm saying? But I think I could have defended Karmelo Anthony better than that dude that was up there, the hippie with the beard. No, for real, because it always astonishes me that the same people who say that George Zimmerman was justified, the same people that say Daniel Penny was justified, the same people that say Kyle Rittenhouse was justified, all of a sudden feel like they have all this legal ground and standing on what self-defense constitutes. But you guys have set the standard that you don't even have to have a weapon. You don't have to touch anybody. You don't even have to be legal in your carrying of armament and in your legal jurisdiction of state. You could be underage with a firearm. The police can tell you not to do anything to this person and let them be, and you can still chase them down and say you fear for your life. They took a dollar bottle of water, 50-cent bottle of water. You can chase them out of the establishment where you felt like you feared for your life, chase them a football field and some change away, shoot them in the back, and you still justified. So if all of those were okay, right, how in the world are we having a debate about this one where we know somebody actually physically touched him? He warned them, please don't put your hands on me.
leave me alone, or I'm gonna have to defend myself. And you still do it, and now we're shocked that you are in a casket. Out of all due respect, because I always respect loss of life. I don't have any.
You know, I mean, again, you know, at the end of the day, whether he was a piece of ish or not, I mean, that's debatable and it's up to preference, right? But at the end of the day, he was still somebody's son, you know. So, but but more so to the fact though. So you brought up Kyle Rittenhouse, right? Perfect example, because Kyle Rittenhouse had the nerve to come out and say, quote, the same people that are screaming self-defense for Karmelo Anthony are the same ones that are screaming that I'm a murderer, a white supremacist, or a Nazi for defending myself against 3 white guys. All right, so let's look at the facts, all right? Kyle Rittenhouse. Let's compare it. Kyle Rittenhouse, Karmelo Anthony, all right? Rittenhouse was in a town he wasn't a resident of protesting. Karmelo Anthony at a track meet he was supposed to be at. Rittenhouse was 17 carrying a pow federally outlawed until the age of 18. Karmelo Anthony age 17 carrying a slicer that is legal in the state of Texas. Let's not leave that out. It was a pocket slicer, okay? Kyle Rittenhouse. Well, you know, from now on, I'm gonna go ahead and address him by his proper name, Kyle Shittenhouse. Kyle Shittenhouse was attacked after warning attackers he would pow. Karmelo Anthony was attacked after warning attackers he would defend himself. Kyle Shittenhouse, unalived 2, injured 1. Karmelo Anthony, unalived 1. Kyle Shittenhouse raised $586,000, $940 from conservatives for legal defense. Karmelo Anthony, conservatives want legal defense funds shut down or legally garnished. Kyle Shittenhouse, acquitted. Self-defense. Karmelo Anthony, conservatives want heaviest legal sentencing, to which Karmelo Anthony was sentenced to 35 years. He's 19. So we talk about the double standard. So let's go back a little bit to last week when we were just talking about this. They had everything in an uproar when we were talking about justice for Cyrus. When we had Rick Chow, just like what Quez was talking about, who literally chased a boy, a 14-year-old boy that he was accusing of stealing in his store. He picked up 4 water bottles, put them back, showed that he had nothing on him, proceeded to walk out, but was then chased by Rick Chow's son and him. They run, right? So we don't know what's happening. This is all he say, she say, whatever.
It's all alleged.
At some point, allegedly, let's just go by what they're saying. A pow falls out of his backpack. Did he have it in his hand? How was his life in danger? He's running. He's running away. And this is what we call facts. He was pow in the back. So how was your life in danger if he's running away from you and you pow in the back? Oh, I was protecting my son. How? From what? Back sweat? You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense. Cheryl says justice is not equal under the law ever. I mean, well, we're seeing it in real time. Look at the climate that we're in. This is what I'm talking about as far as the climate that we are in. So conservatives wanted the heaviest sentence possible for Karmelo Anthony. But for Kyle Rittenhouse, for everybody else, for the Dylan Roofs, it can be mental illness. It's every other excuse underneath the sun. But for when it's somebody of color, specifically black, they're thugs, they're heathens. And I've seen so many racist comments between Facebook, between Instagram, and between threads. People calling Karmelo Anthony a chimp, saying, "Oh, thugs, this and that." I mean, it's just crazy. So when we talk about race relations stuff, and we get told that, "Oh no, it's over. You're over exaggerating, or you're just perpetuating, or blah blah blah." This is what we're talking about. Nobody believes us in real time. This is a perfect example of what we're talking about. Now we got a young man whose life is essentially ruined, because again, no black jurors selected in Karmelo Anthony's murder trial or unaliving trial. Let's look at another fact. All right. Potential jurors in Karmelo Anthony's trial dismissed after admitting age and race could influence their decision. It seems to
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It seems to me that somebody wanted a prosecution and they wanted it bad. And it wouldn't be surprising or unalarming to me if certain people were in cahoots.
Well, I mean, that's a given. Life supremacy is not, a secluded group of individuals. It's a code that's lived on. My thing is, for my people, when y'all go into these jury selections, whether it be for your race or not, go in there as non-biased as possible. Because even if you do have biases, you may be the individual that saves somebody from getting railroaded. I know you want to be, morally standing, and I'm not sitting him in jail because he's black like me. That's the wrong time for that type of energy. That's definitely the wrong time for that type of energy. And even furthermore, the thing I noticed about the pandemic when we was, when the BLM movements was happening and all that kind of stuff, I was outside, right? I was in the streets of LA, you know what I'm saying, in those marches and seeing who was doing what, who was moving and grooving, doing, you know what I mean? But one thing I noticed, there were a lot of Caucasian people out there. There were a lot of Hispanic people out there. There were a lot of minorities out there. So what I realized during that time was, if all these people are out here and feel this way during this moment, why can't we ever get any of these people on juries? If there's so much coalition. Because even with Karmelo Anthony, I know they say it's all, white, which technically on paper these people are, but some of these people are also considered minorities. And where was your empathy and your non-biased judgment during this situation, right? Why do we get all these people in the streets marching and these protests and saying, hey, we stand with you, but every single day when it comes to a black individual hitting that courtroom and there's a jury of his quote unquote peers that's going to judge him, y'all let people get railroaded so that you don't shake the water up. That's what bothers me. Whether they be Caucasian allies that they would say we have, the Hispanic ones, the Asian ones, the Indian ones, the East Indians, or the Africans or whatever. For some reason, when it comes to that jury selection, they always seem to find people that help with the railroad.
And to your credit, so piggybacking, right?
Mm-hmm.
Karmelo Anthony, the jury for Karmelo Anthony's trial. Jury number one was a white woman in her 40s.
Mm-hmm.
Jury number two was a white man in his 40s.
Mm-hmm.
Jury number three, white man in 20s or 30s. Jury number four, white woman, 20s or 30s. 5, white woman, 30s. 6, white man, 50s or 60s. 7, Asian woman, 50s. 8, white woman, 60s or 70s. 9, white or Hispanic man can tell 40s. 10, white man 40s. 11, white or Hispanic woman 20 or 30s. 12, Asian 30s or 40s. And then, of course, you have backup juries. 13, Hispanic or Indian man 30s or 40s. 14, Middle Eastern woman wearing head covering 60s. 15, Indian woman 30s or 40s. White man 50s. White man 50s. 18, white woman 40s or 50s. This was not a jury of his peers.
Not at all. And that's why through the appeals process, see, this what I also tell my people. Emotional responses is what get us in trouble. You gotta regulate your emotions, right? These are lessons that I'm trying to teach my sons now. Your emotional response to things that happen to you in life are completely your fault. If you let your emotions overrule your sound, calm thinking mind, then you are at fault. What's happening, Dwayne? But
so Dwayne,
this is how the system works. And again, we watching it in real time. Everybody called me Uncle Tom's and Cools and MAGA and all these other things when I was trying to tell people and let them know that life supremacy is so fragile that it's going to destroy itself because it doesn't make any sense. The logic doesn't add up, right? But we get so hung up on emotional stuff, like we gotta be black and we gotta do this, and you know what I'm saying? No, if you let the system work the way it's supposed to work, they are so hell bent on if a black face is on it, they will vote, they will do things against their own best interest that will eventually destroy themselves. And that's what this case just proved. You got so hell bent on getting a conviction that you did everything in your power to make sure that you stacked all the cards against young Karmelo, so much so that you gave him, even if he was guilty, let's just say he was, you know what I'm saying? But you gave him an out because you stacked the jury on purpose. There's no way in the world you could tell me in the state of Texas, out of 18 selections, you couldn't find one black person that could fit that jury. Not one. If they would have just put one, the argument would be different. Just one. If you'd have just put one, the whole argument would have been different. But because you were so hell-bent on making sure this young man spent the rest of his natural life in prison, you stacked the cards, Mark Furman, so much that even if OJ was guilty, you messed up the case so much by being so anti-black that you gotta let him go.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy work, man. It's crazy. And so with that being said, and I feel for his mother, Karmelo Anthony's mom. What's up, Dwayne? Make sure if you guys are just tuning in, we're talking about the Karmelo Anthony conviction. He was found guilty and convicted, and he was sentenced to 35 years, for essentially self-defense. This is not even alleged. This is literally what they describe self-defense in the state of Texas. Right. You know what I'm saying? So, man, it really has right now the nation divided. So if you want, like I said, drop your thoughts, views, and opinions in the comment section. Make sure you hit the like, share, subscribe button. Share this with your people. Share this with people who may have objecting views. We would love to have them on the platform because I would love to kind of pick their brain and to see where it is that they actually come from or where they're standing from. We may gain some type of perspective. You know what I'm saying? So it's not necessarily to attack or debate or bite your head off. Say it with your chest. Speak how you feel. You know what I'm saying? Jess, welcome to the show.
What's up, Jess?
Hello.
You got 1 week before your life over.
I know.
So how do you feel about what you know so far about this case?
Very disappointing. I know once I heard that there were no African Americans in that lineup of jurors, I knew he was doomed. Sadly, it really broke my heart when I heard the jurors. As a mom, I know she's heartbroken. I know she is. And I believe this happened when he was a minor, right?
He was 17.
Am I correct? Okay. Yeah. I got a 17-year-old, so I can't even imagine how his mama feels right now. It's very sad, heartbreaking, and I wish someone would look into this and hopefully fix what was done, because his life is pretty much over now, and it's really messed up.
It really is. It's a sad situation. Dwayne, what's up, man? Dwayne says there is a term for this being done with the jury. I can't remember what it is, but it's illegal. When it happens, you can take to the Supreme Court. Okay, so I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but this is why, it's essential to get involved in the politics, know what you're voting for. So let's just say, for example, it goes to the Supreme Court. Right now, it's packed. It's packed with people who are MAGA. Because I'm gonna quit trying to say, I'm gonna practice trying to say Republicans, because there are Republicans who do not share the same thoughts, views, and opinions as MAGA folks. So you have MAGA Republicans, and then you may have like traditional Republicans. So, but right now, the House is packed with MAGA Republicans, with the biggest Sambo being Clarence Thomas. So even if it gets to the Supreme Court, whether it's on the federal level, whether it's on a state level, again, because we're talking about Texas, which is a red state, you think there's going to be any difference in the outcome if it gets that far? So right now, it's sad to say, but homie is really traveling up Ish Creek. I've heard some other stuff too, that Charleston White was telling the father, it's good to have an all-white jury and do you a clown. Because no, again, this was not a jury of his peers. There are going to be people who are empathetic and sympathetic to Austin Metcalf because of the color of his complexion, because he looked like the quote-unquote protocol would have meant to be an American. He lost his life and whatever, what I'm saying? But they totally negate the fact that they put his hands on this individual. Again, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, to be fair, we're probably the only community that gets faulted for doing that one said action, right? When people are in control or in power, they see themselves in the children of their community as such, right? When white people see children misbehaving or out of pocket, it's hard for them to judge them harshly because they see themselves in them. Asians, Hispanics, whoever, they all see themselves in the children of their community. So 9 times out of 10, they're going to be more lenient on them. We're the only community that has such a strenuous conversation around when I see children that look like mine. I don't have that same sentiment, and I don't think it's because of us. I think it's because the stereotype and stigma that society puts on our children, and we allow that to happen. We're supposed to be in these courtrooms so that we can understand the sentiments of the children of our community and what their mind may have been thinking during those times, right? Because that's how your your George Zimmermans get free, and that's how your Kyle Rittenhouses get up there and put on crocodile tears and gain sympathy. All of that is because the community of their peers can see themselves in that individual. Only in the Black community is there so much anti-Black hatred that nobody can see that realistic life form of a Black child. They're always superhuman, super predators. If we're going to be completely honest, the irony of this case is Karmelo Anthony came from a two-parent household, had great grades, never got in trouble, was a model citizen compared to the books, while thing one and thing two come from a single-parent household. They didn't beat up their daddy. They've been disciplined on several occasions for bullying, and somehow society still found the humanness in them, and even down to the news presentations of them putting up the high school photos of Mr. Metcalf and the mugshot photo of Karmelo Anthony for every single photo that went up. I didn't see one major news broadcasting station put up his high school photo.
Right. Real quick. Adoration says, "What's up, Adoration? We see you. Salute to you. But I don't even have children, or I see these young men as my own children, and definitely." Well, she said, "But I don't even have children, and I see those young men as my own children, and definitely don't see them as predators." What are you speaking about specifically?
Yeah, you're proving my point, Miss Adoration. That's exactly what I'm saying. We can see that. What I'm saying is the society outside of us never have that same sentiment. I can see Austin Metcalf losing his life and still have sympathy. Like, bro, that shouldn't have happened. You know what I'm saying? I got a 17-year-old son, and the worst thing I would want to happen is him to be at a track meet, get an altercation, and get unalived. You know what I'm saying? I can still have that same sentiment about somebody outside of my community. But for some reason, when it comes to us in the Black community, nobody has that. That's what I was trying to say. I don't know if she missed that point.
She said right.
Okay, thank you. Maybe I just didn't articulate it well.
I'm going to pull a Time to Unalive, a Time to KILL, a movie thing. And I want you for a second to look at it in this perspective too. You know, This is what I posted up on Facebook. If this was Austin and whatever the other brother's name was, Metcalf, was, and this was Karmelo Anthony, white people would say this was self-defense, true or false. It's true. Just like how we've seen with the Kyle Shittenhouses, the George Zimmermans, whatever, people have said self-defense, and they used it and it worked. Rick Chow, he used it and it worked. But what really bothers me is that we have people who will say, like, I'm gonna look for the specific comment. As you can see, like people, there was a person who made this, who put this, how guys look defending unalive just because he's the same color as you.
We can't see it on the screen.
Oh, okay. Cool. Because I think you guys will lose your mind. But this person, somebody said, I knew he would be found guilty. He poked him. We have to teach our boys to do better. We can't react. If you live in Texas or any southern state, the system is rigged against you. My reply, so teach them not to react. So what do we teach them if they're threatened or assaulted? This person said he could have walked away. The worst he would have had were bruises. You escalated when you use knives and pow pow. America is a very violent country. Self-defense will never work with us. My reply. So your theory is to turn the other cheek. How has that worked or benefited us as well? The only thing I agree with is that you don't bring a slicer to a fist fight. I would have taken a chance of getting outfought, but I'm not letting nobody put their hands on me as well. The irony is in America, you have a legal right to defend yourself. But also in America, and by what you're saying is, you can't defend yourself if you're black.
That's the facts.
That person replied, how well did it work out for him? He could have used his fist, but once he used the slicer, it was over. It's unfortunate. Plus, he's out there in Texas where black folks have civil rights if white people are intimidated by it. This is sad. To me, this is sad thinking from somebody who's supposed to be of the same hue as us.
Where's he from?
Oh, this person is from California, I believe.
No, where's their family from?
Who?
Their family.
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Sounds like tether behavior. That's why I was asking. Let's change the scenario a little bit. Let's say Karmelo did fight back and hit Austin Metcalf, and he fell down the bleachers and cracked his head and still passed away. We would be having this same conversation right now if that was the case. Because only in America can your mottos and mantras be, don't tread on me. You could pry my guns out of my dead cold hands. We always fight, defend, and stand. Unless you black from the days of Jim Crow and prior, where even if you were black, slave or free, were not allowed to have weapons to defend yourself. And for some odd reason, the caucasity of America seems to feel like they can still tell people to get to the back of the bus, get out of that seat. You can't sit at this lunch counter. In 2026, we're having segregation conversations because a lot of white people feel like they have the authority to police black bodies with no authority. Who gave Mr. Metcalf the authority to kick, remove, or allow anybody at an open track event sanctioned by the school district for several schools the authority to remove people? Why wasn't the animus put on him to go find an adult? Why wasn't the animus put on him to go and tell the teacher? That's my issue. The same things that white people get praised for, standing their ground for, defending themselves, and well, that they should have just kept them hands to themselves. And they what happened to all that logic and rhetoric when the person is black? If we were to put these stories up and not put any color bias on it, the same people who say, if the justice system says you're not guilty, then you're just not guilty if you're white, are the same people arguing about OJ being free.
Right.
But the justice system did what it did. Sorry.
You have something to say, Des?
Oh, no, I don't know if y'all talked about this, but it's kind of interesting how he felt that he had to carry a knife. Like if you feel like you have to carry a knife, that means something's been up. He's probably been bullied on multiple occasions and has to defend himself, because I bet you this boy probably told educators, staff members multiple times that kids are bullying him and it's being ignored. That's the sad part.
You know, just to your credit, you weren't here when I said this. I said, you know, back when I got to Ques's high school when I moved there, you know, I used to carry 3 blades on me. They would have hated me. I had a black blade. I had one that was in like a holster. I had one that was in my Timbs, and then I had one in my backpack. And it's because, again, I was getting threatened. I was getting kind of harassed by people who were the opposite color. You know what I'm saying? People who were of gang culture, just because simply I walk different. You get what I'm saying? Or, you know what I mean? And then
really thought he was Blade. That was the problem. If you really thought you was Blade in 10th grade, you know what I'm saying? You out here.
But, you know, but I learned that behavior in junior high because, again, there were people when there were race riots, you know, the ops, as you would say, will pull out blades in the bathroom. You know what I'm saying? But in New York, from what I heard, from what I learned from my New York folks, they used to carry razors in their mouths. You know what I'm saying?
So that's what we did here in San Bernardino.
Yeah, like $1.50s. You know what I'm saying? Like
you know what I'm saying?
some women would carry blades in their hair, and then some dudes would carry blades in their mouths. You know what I'm saying? Like the razor blades, whatever. So I learned that culture. But again, when, like you said, to your credit, Jess, when you get messed with, and this has happened. When I moved to Washington State, there was 2 white kids who called me the N-word. My natural reaction, I hit them in the throat. And they couldn't breathe. So I was damn near put up for expulsion behind it. So when they said, well, you can come talk to us, you come tell us, you come to us, come to us. So the next time it happened, I went to them like, hey, they're calling me the N-word and da. They bring the 2 kids in. Did you call him the N-word? The other kid lied, said, no, he never did. No, I didn't. I would never. I didn't get believed. You know, I flipped what we call the funk out, start flipping tables and everything. But again, I got labeled as the aggressor, the angry black kid. They had to put me in anger management counseling classes or whatever because of my anger. But I'm over here being called the N-word because I went and did the right thing to the teacher, and they did not believe me. So you're right. It could have been that way for Karmelo, but we don't know. But the one thing we know for a fact, he did not walk into that track meet with the intent to take anybody's life. He was there to run track, mingle with friends, go home. He did not expect to get approached by 2, and I heard there was more, 2 white kids and told to move out of this tent. And then when you tell them to leave me alone, they put their hands on you. They're bigger. Like I said in the comments or whatever before, the mentality of somebody who can't fight is you're scared. So you're holding on to that slicer because this is your protection. Because you can't fight. You can't fight. You're not of that life. You're not built that way. So this is what I'm going to use to protect myself.
Yep.
That.
Again, I tell my sons, survive the encounter, whatever that entails. You know what I'm saying? Your job is to survive the encounter. Whether that means you got to shut up and let people get their issue off and talk crazy, reckless, whatever, so that you can live to move on another day, or whether that is to get somebody up off you. Now, whatever you survive the encounter entails for you, I need you to do that, because anything after that I can fix or we can deal with. You know what I'm saying? As long as you're breathing. But if you die, it's a hard fought battle after that point.
You know what, Quez? It's sad that you have to even talk to your kids about that.
It's not sad. It's a reality. And I want more parents to quit sugarcoating the realities that we face in life. Is that white supremacy is still alive and well. You know what I'm saying? There's an extenuate movement going on in this country where, you know what I'm saying, white supremacy feels like they being slighted, so they look for easy targets, young children, women, and disabled people that they can pick on, and they are intentionally, with the help of the internet, now they're intentionally antagonizing you to see if they can get you emotionally charged so that they could do something like hurt you. and get you out of here. And knowing that in our justice system currently, your voice has no power, your believability has no power, and you black, so you never get the benefit of the doubt. That's just the truth for all of y'all. Like, stop sugarcoating that to your kids. They're not gonna believe you. If you go into it knowing that they're not gonna believe you, you know what I'm saying, you're better off. Don't you can't have faith in an unjust justice system that we watched Emmett Till get dragged behind a car and nobody get charged with. We can't believe in a justice system that let people hang from trees and they took their kids out there with sandwiches and juice and fruit and watched it, and then after they passed away, cut their skin off and made wallets and boots and tonics that they would drink. These are not sane people. I want you to stop acting like the playing field is fair. It's not fair, and you just have to be okay with that.
Go ahead, Jess.
No, I was just going to say, for the parents out there, that's why it's important for you to talk to your kids to see if they're getting bullied. I would always ask my kids, are you being bullied? You know, girls will probably talk more than boys, but yeah, my son's answer was, no, I don't get bullied. That was his answer, you know, but you seriously have to have those conversations with them regularly. Because you never know. You never know.
You don't know. And it's okay to tell your children to punch bullies in their mouth. But that's what I tell my kids. If your child bullies my kid, I'm telling my kid to punch your kid in the mouth. I don't care how you feel about that.
Cheryl says, outsized and outnumbered, you need an equalizer. She was alluding to what I was talking about earlier. Very true.
Yeah, I need Cheryl to tell us how she accidentally pulled out a weapon. You know what I'm saying? In the 4th grade. That I've been waiting on that story. We're gonna have to call her, put her in the hot seat behind that one.
Well, to go even further, again, so like I told you, it's disheartening to see like some of these comments that are coming from people of the same hue as us. But even more so, you know, Karmelo Anthony's father has exhibited a syndrome that we call foot and mouth. Because once they lifted up the gag order on this whole case, you know what I'm saying, I think he had some choice words. And, you know, and so what they're saying is the gag order is lifted, but Jeff Metcalf's words could follow Karmelo Anthony's appeal straight into court. Because for those that don't know, they appealed the decision, which rightfully so. If anything, it should have been ended in a mistrial. Because again, you know, you got people who feel a certain type of way about Austin, and certain type of people who should have felt a certain type of way about Karmelo. But again, 35 years is way, way too excessive, especially when you're talking about self-defense. So sorry about that, y'all. So if we're talking about somebody who, Rick Chow, who runs away, who is chasing a person who he believes that is stealing from his store, and then you pow him in the back because you're defending your son, when somebody who's actually, by police reports and witnesses, who pushed Karmelo and he uses this, whatever, it should have been manslaughter. But, you know, so if you don't know what I'm talking about, let's go ahead and let's give you the clip of what Mr. Karmelo Anthony, not Karmelo Anthony, but Austin Metcalf's father, Mr. Jeff Metcalf, has to say.
Kayla, you drunk bitch. What'd you do to that boy to make him stab somebody? My God, what kind of mother are you? Hey, Kevin Hayes, you fucking liar. Day after it happened, how many lies did you sit and type up on your keyboard, you big keyboard warrior? You a big tough man. You still live in Baton Rouge? Remember you said you'd come to Frisco, buddy? You were supposed to find me. I told you we could sit down and talk. That's all you do. Talk, Mr. Squeaky Clean. You're the only one in your family without a damn record. I guess that's something to brag about in your culture. You people hang your hat on the dumbest shit I've ever seen. Let me make one up. Y'all can let me make something racist up so y'all can go viral. I got a new name for Mello, okay? Because he was such this little boy y'all were trying to portray. How about Watermelon Felon? How's that one strike you? So don't complain when shit doesn't go your way, when you don't do anything about it. Don't bitch because Trump's president because you didn't vote. You're going to support someone who does something against the law. You're encouraging and saying it's okay because he's a certain color. Oh, you've got more melanin than me. Ooh, so you get more privileges, more entitlement? Because 400 years ago, someone actually sold you to us and we took you over here and put you to work. And then we had a civil war to free your ass. And now you want to talk shit? Oh, I've been so oppressed. You couldn't even vote 1960. Look how far you've come. Look at all the free shit we give you. You're not oppressed. You're fucking entitled.
That was Jeff Metcalf calling Karmelo Anthony's mom the B word, a drunk B word.
Not the Christian.
The Christian, the conservative, upright Christian. Yeah. Ooh, we. All right, y'all.
And what would you do? Just smell your wife? What you got going on over there?
No, I did not. I looked at her because I think she knows what's about to come next.
Oh, okay. I didn't know what
I
you had
want to
going
talk.
on.
If you guys are out there and you guys know Mr. Jeff Metcalf, this is for him. Sir, that is precisely the reason why your son is not here today.
Oh, hey.
No, because again, at the end of the day, if we're talking about bad decisions, bad parenting, you just exhibited full heart that, hey, you, sir, are not a good person. You have built this environment and cultivated this culture of hate, this culture of confusion, and you projected it onto your son, to where your son felt the sense of entitlement, to where your son felt like he can go to somebody and tell him, hey, you don't belong here, when he had no authority. Your son felt like it was his privilege and his right, his God-given right, because he's a white American, to tell this black boy to get from underneath this tent with his twin brother and some other people allegedly behind him. And you provoked this young man. Like I said, sir, I'm talking to you directly, Jeff Metcalf. Had that would have been me, I don't think I would have took your son's life per se, but I would have found the nearest brick. I would have walked away and played it cool. Found the nearest brick and slapped the funk out of him. You know what I'm saying? This is partially your fault because you, sir, taught your son no boundaries. You put your prejudices, your racism, and you cultivated and taught this young man this hate produces hate, and this is what you produce. He's no longer here to live his life. He's no longer here to correct that mistake that he made underneath that tent. You, sir, have to place the blame on this one. And for you to call that man, that little boy's mother a drunk B word and whatever, and come on all this other stuff, wrong thing to do. Because there's some people who might take you up on an invitation to come see you. But you may put your foot in your mouth, because when it goes to appeals, when you're saying this has nothing to do with race and nothing, you just proved beyond a reasonable doubt that this had everything to do with race. From the no black jurors to the judge having a court case on a fucking Saturday because he wanted to expedite this as quick as possible. Why?
Because he's up for re-election. That's why.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I just wanted to
so
answer your question.
Dwayne saying, I'm hearing now some people are saying that it wasn't a slicer, they're saying it was a tool. No. So let's stop. Let's stop with all the misconceptions, the misinformation, whatever. Police reports have confirmed that it was a slicer. It was a pocket slicer that was legal to carry in the state of Texas. It was legal. This is from law enforcement. It was legal. It was nothing. It was no kitchen slicer or whatever. It was a legal pocket knife.
And it was under 4 inches. That's not very big. Ask Diddy. You know what I'm saying? 4 inches isn't a lot. But again, the dominating society never seems to take accountability for anything. That's what bothers me. In that, hey, to think somebody sold you to us, we brought you over here, put you to work, and then, we fought a civil war to free you, and then after that civil war, it still took us another 100 and some odd years to give you the right to vote in the 60s, and now you get all this free stuff. Like, bro, what are you talking about? If you was talking to your kids like this, they were doomed. They were literally doomed to fail because you can't take accountability for your participation in one of the greatest atrocities to touch this damn planet. You can't take everything. Like, it bothers me that these white men who sit on the top of everything, right? The hierarchy of everything. Nepotism, Fortune 500 companies, CEOs, median income households. Y'all sit at the top of every single metric, and you still crying that some person that doesn't look like you is taking something from you. It's absurd. It's cowardly. It's bitch made. If we being honest, y'all got DEI. DEI is just taking my jobs. Your wife is taking your job. DEI benefited white women more than anybody else in this country. Affirmative action. Hey, affirmative action helped LGBT and white women more than it helped anybody in this country because you were so irate that you wouldn't even let your mama vote. You gave black people the right to vote before you gave it to your wife and your mother and your sister and your daughter. That's how absurd you guys are. And every time something happens, it's the white man ain't got no. Hey man, shut up. Stop crying. You acting like a bi. I'm sorry. They're trying to make me a deacon at the church, so I'm trying to get better with my life.
I'll say it for you. You acting like a beach.
Yeah, thank you. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to be on the straight and narrow, man, because it's just completely absurd that every time we turn around, it's the white men that are and bro, you were around when they let black people vote. You're definitely over 60. If you're not, I'm sorry that you look that way. You know what I'm saying? You age like milk that sat out on the counter for 2 days. And the nerve for you to talk about somebody and you look like that at 45 is ridiculous.
He could be.
Let's be honest. Your son's 17. Yeah, he probably is about 45. At the oldest, 50. I don't know how old he is, but you know what I'm saying? I'm 42, and I don't look like that. You look like every battle you done been through, sir. Every
Let's
one.
go back and take another look at him. I'm gonna put on the bigger blow up.
Yeah, please do.
Hi, there.
Yeah.
Why he look like one of them dudes who's in like
he looks like that Hannibal.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like no Hannibal.
Hannibal
Lecter. You know what I'm saying? Like what's that movie that is Saw? He looked like one of them characters from Saw. Like, he didn't stash a couple of bodies up in the attic or whatever.
Look, I'm gonna tell you my age right now. He looked like dude from Silence of the Lambs.
Word. You know what I'm saying? And you said before allegedly that his sons put hands on him, they beat his ass.
That's not allegedly. That's why his shoulder was broken. Your sons beat you up. You should be ashamed. Anthony Hopkins, exactly. Sherelle know what I'm talking about. You know exactly who I'm talking about. And you got a actual assault charge as a grown man.
What?
Oh yeah, not alleged. That's why it's ironic. See, you can't play with me because I keep receipts and my ears be to the street. Well, they be telling. You got an actual charge. That's why you wasn't in the house with your kids. You know what I'm saying? Your wife put you out because you like to touch on little people. Ooh. But now you got all this audacity to tell people what they should be doing in their household. You might want to shut up, sir, if I call John Hanson on you. You know what I'm saying? And then people jump out the bushes again and catch you. That's why you couldn't go to your son's track meet because you can't be within 100 feet of a school, sir.
Wow. That's deep.
Yeah.
And then, so I'm going to give you another perspective because I tried to invite him on. But, there's this one guy who was on Instagram and he was catching hell from some of these other, folks, from the other hue. You know what I'm saying? But he's a former cop. He's a white dude, a former cop. And this is what he said. I'm going to quote him. He said, former cop here, self-defense doesn't mean you have to use the same tools your attacker is using. If someone is attacking you and you fear for your life, you can use whatever means necessary to stop said attacker. That's just facts. So Karmelo using a slicer instead of fist fighting doesn't matter. If you think you can't be unalive with punches, you're ignorant. Moral of the story is keep your hands to yourself. Is it right? Nah, he should have left. But he didn't have to. He didn't have to. Twins didn't have to. Twins didn't have to press it either. Their tent or not, it's public right to sit in stands during school hours. 2 lives ruined that day. And, and I gave him a salute, because I'm like, that's the most honest, unbiased reaction that I've seen from a person that is non-black on this whole thread, from a former cop. And this is what he's saying as far as self-defense. So what he's saying as far as self-defense is that Karmelo Anthony had every right to defend himself. And then mind you, so there was an ignoramus who was in there arguing, no, but he shouldn't. And then the cop had nerve to say, look, I'm going to tell you like this. It was, and I'm paraphrasing a bit, but he's saying, regardless, even when he's threatening intent, he had no right to put his hands on him or even threaten him. You know what I'm saying? So he was saying 2 lives have been ruined. So, yeah. Karmelo shouldn't have used a slicer, but again, he may have felt like his life was in danger. So that's what it meant for self-defense. And this is a white guy who was a former cop. And then he's being attacked by people who are saying, oh, you this and that. Mind you, he's giving it to you real. So how could he see it like that, but a jury could not see it? Well, then I gotta blame the defense a little bit.
Yeah, you got to think logically first. You know what I'm saying? And once again, white supremacy has no logic. It doesn't even make sense. You can't be supreme over people that can be outside in the daytime and not get cancer. You know what I'm saying? You can't be supreme over them, right? If you stay outside too long, you might die. You can't be supreme over me. I'm just put that out there. But on top of that, the problem I have with the defense is Karmelo Anthony has epilepsy. You know what I'm saying? My little sister has epilepsy. Not to put her business out there, but those episodes are very traumatic. And if you were to hit that young man in any other scenario and he had a epileptic seizure and died, you would still be charged with unaliving him. So the fact that he knows he has it, now we know he has it, that self-defense looks a lot more clear when that young man says, I was scared for my life, because he knows one hit in the wrong scenario could cost him his life. That puts things in perspective. That's why I was so upset with the defense, because they brought it up in the case and then they kind of just glossed over it. Like, oh yeah, he got epilepsy, but was he supposed to be under the tent? Like, come on, bro, that's a point you need to hone in on for self-defense. Right. It's a very important factor. Nobody, even to this day, there's really no scientific evidence on when people are going to have epileptic seizures, what causes them. But we do know certain things can trigger them, like hitting your head. You know what I'm saying? Bright lights flashing, losing consciousness, in and out of consciousness. Those things can trigger an episode. They don't necessarily know how to treat them completely, but we do know that if I hit you across your head too hard, you can go into having an epileptic seizure, and it may be something we can't save you from if it's too severe. And this is from somebody, like, I've seen my sister have seizures, held her and fought through those. Like, it's not a fun feeling. It's not very enticing situation to be in, where you got to make sure they don't swallow their tongue and you know, suffocate on their own saliva because they have no control over their body. And you got to kind of restrain them from hurting themselves. Make sure they don't hit their head, because it could happen while they standing up. It could happen in the middle of a conversation. You know what I mean? Like, those are very traumatic things. But, you know, if I was to punch my sister while she talking to me and then she fall and hit her head, I'm pretty sure the gavel gonna swing and they're gonna get me up out of here. It's just how that works. So if she felt like she needed to defend herself against somebody being aggressive, because I give her the same advice, any signs of aggression are met with equal or greater force. You don't have time to play, guess, and wonder if somebody's gonna do something to you. You need to live in the wish a nigga woods. I wish you would come over here. I wish you would try. That's how you have to live when you have medical situations like that, and you can't really play with that. She can fight, but let's say they get the best of you that day. Is it worth your life? Survive the encounter, man. I'm sorry, you know I'm on my tangent today.
That's all good. Jess, you got any thoughts before we wrap up?
No, I said all my thoughts.
Well, there's that.
Yeah, you're done with it, huh, Jess?
Yeah.
I mean, so when you got black fatigue now?
Huh?
There's a thing called black fatigue.
Wow. Yeah.
So, me in closing, you know, it's definitely sad that, you know, a young dude lost his life, because, again, you know, we're parents here. So, you know, at the end of the day, you want your kids to live their life to the fullest. You want to see them grow. You want to see what they might become. And so it's sad when you look at the perspective of, man, he's not going to be here. You know, but at the end of the day, too, like I was saying before, when you look at who his father was a person of immoral, lacks moral integrity, lacks character, a racist, a bigot. You can see this is the type of environment that, you know, he didn't know any better. And I've said it before, too. I believe that racism and prejudice is a thing that's being taught. You know what I'm saying? It gets passed down from generation to generation to generation. So when you have you have a group of people who think just like him, Mind you, conservatives were over here saying that they wanted the fullest length of punishment for Karmelo, who's a 17-year-old, who's a minor. Let's also point out that he has no prior convictions. You know, he has no record. You know what I'm saying? And in most states, you know what I'm saying, in most places, the most he would have gotten probably for that, with him being a minor at the time, would be maybe like 5 to 6 years. You know what I'm saying? At the most, because it would be considered manslaughter. But in Texas, they can charge 17-year-olds like adults. The color of his skin definitely played a part in it. They used the worst part of people's fears. Oh, black guy, very threatening. And mind you, Karmelo was smaller than the twins. There was 2 of them, maybe 4. You know what I'm saying? So, again, whose life was really threatened that day? So, you know, at the end of the day, it's sad. But when you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. You know what I'm saying? Like, he should have been taught better. So when we're talking about taught, that goes back to the household, the father, accountability. So now your son's not here no more, and you're blaming everybody else but yourself, sir. You can't even look at yourself in the mirror and see that you're a bigot. You know what I'm saying? And you just need help Karmelo Anthony with his appeal. So long story short, you know what I'm saying? And to the black folks out there, we're saying, oh, well, he shouldn't have brought a knife. And again, as a fighter, I agree. You know what I'm saying? But again, I can fight. I love to fight. But at the same time, man, like, you know, this dude, you can obviously tell wasn't about that life. He seemed like a genuinely good kid. And he was scared. He feared for his life. He had the right to defend himself. And you, with the color of your skin, are going to get on Trump's given internet and say some stupid, outlandish stuff like that to give people more credence to say, like, hey, well, he shouldn't have. Why? Because I'm pretty sure that Timmy and Billy got pocket knives too. If Timmy and Billy were getting the snot beat out of them or bullied by 2 black Tyrones, whatever like that, and one got unalive, then it'll be the same thing as far as self-defense, right? So why are you in your brain conditioned to sit here and to think that this boy, this young boy at this time, who again is still a boy, was not given the decency to make a mistake? He made a mistake. He shouldn't have been serving the 35 years. You know, Lord willing, or who knows, you know, we may not even be on this earth by the time that he gets out. And he doesn't get a chance to live his life. And we've seen people really trying to point and villainize him. And, oh, he took some from, he robbed. And then the brother tried to get bold. And no, punk, where were you when your brother was getting poked? You sat there and watched like a little beach. Don't sit up there and get tough now that he's up in handcuffs and chains. No, you're talking to somebody who really can really be about that life. You sat there like a little punk while your brother got poked, and you did shit. You didn't do a damn thing. Well, I'm coming for everything. So now they're gonna try to do a civil case? Man, get out of here. And to Karmelo Anthony's parents, I'm gonna tell you like this. Funk what Charleston White got to say. Get that punk and clown out of your circle. Go get you a bulldog of an attorney. And I'm not talking about Ben Crump. No offense. But you don't want somebody who's a Showtime civil rights attorney, a defense attorney. You don't want that. You don't want somebody who's just there for the cameras and for the glitz and glamour. I don't know if he's like that. We've seen cases in point where the God rest his soul, the Jesse Jacksons, the Al Sharptons, we've seen them before. You don't need those type of figures. You need a bulldog. Somebody who, again, can watch an episode of Perry Mason, can go in there and say, like, hey, this was self-defense. He put his hands on him. He had no right to do so. He had every right to be here and object to everything that they're saying. They villainize that young man in that court. They played to the prejudices and the fears of the people of the jury and got that boy convicted to 35 years of his life. Get you a bulldog who has common sense. Not no.
They need to go and dig up Johnny Cochran. That's what they need.
Man.
They need to get Johnny Cochran and Kim Kardashian daddy, you know what I'm saying, to come back.
Or Mark Geragos. or Mark
Yeah.
Garagos, because Mark Garagos is not Mark Garagos. I'm sorry, funk that dude. I'm talking about Tom Mesereau. The same dude who defended Mike. Because he's defending Mike still to this day. And and again, when I was going to bring Mike's docuseries in this whole discussion about the hypocrisy of America. When you get somebody who is found not guilty, but still guilty in the court of public opinion, is still castrated and treated like as if they're guilty, I was going to bring that in too. But get you a Tom Mesereau. He's a white dude, but he's going to fight. If he believes in your kid's innocent, he's going to fight for you. And again, shout out to Lil Boosie. Shout out to Cardi B if it's true. Shout out to all the entertainers out there who are going to help with this young man's appeal or defense and giving him the right defense, because this defense wasn't shit. How did you sit there and let an all-white jury convict this dude? How did you let that happen? You know what I'm saying? Like it seems too easy to me. I'm gonna pull a page from my boy Quez. It seems like it was really convenient. Just wanted to hurry up and get it over with, right? To appease the state of Texas. So, with that being said, with my closing remarks, you know what I'm saying? I think.
Yeah, you said right. Your 12 cents. You had about 12 cents right there.
Hey man, I'll let you take your platform. I'll let you have it. But again, I think it was unfair. Again, Austin Metcalf should be here. He should have been taught better by his father. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, Karmelo did not deserve 35 years. So until he gets actual justice, this is what it's about.
Absolutely. And shout out to the everyday folks that was up there at that courthouse, giving us information from the trial. I was watching a lot of y'all on Twitter and TikTok and YouTube, since it wasn't a televised case for obvious reasons. Shouts out to the people on the ground, boots on the ground, the grassroots who's out there putting, BTA to make sure our brother, gets exactly what he needs. The celebrities is cool, but it's the regular folks every day out there in them streets that make these things turn over and support. And even if it's $1, if it's $5, if it's $10, keep doing what y'all doing, man. We're gonna make sure you got some commissary. We're gonna make sure he's straight and get his life right. And now it is what it is, man. That's my.
All right, y'all. Much love. Dwayne, I don't know. I'm not sure if it was a public defender or not, but when you have a clown like Charleston White in this corner saying like, yeah, go this one, or yeah, no, all white jury's gonna be good. Yeah, they had wrong advice. And I don't even know why they trusted this fool. You know what I'm saying? But get better people in your circle, Karmelo Anthony's parents. Hey, we send in prayers to Karmelo Anthony. Hold your head, man. I know it's gonna be rough in there. Hold your head. We're gonna be praying till you free. Again, sad that Austin Metcalf lost his life. You know what I'm saying? But funk your daddy. Your daddy's a piece of ish. And then, but on that note, you know what I'm saying? This has been Drop Your 3 Cent. Hit the like, share, subscribe button. We keep it real around here. This is where other people, for the people, real conversation means real culture means real conversation. And that's what it is. So thank you for tuning in. We'll see you on the next one. You know what I'm saying? Free Karmelo. And we will be back on the next one. Peace.